morning, YouTube family. How are you doing today? It's good to be back to talk sports to you. I got a great guest for us today, the head basketball coach at Texas Southern University, Johnny Jones, two-time defending tournament champion, and we hope to make it 3. And yeah, I'm a homer, but also I'm going to report news on all of the HBCUs around the country and update you on what's going on. We had some things going on in Jackson. The show tapes every other week. This is Tuesday. You'll see the show Friday. So this show last taped 2 weeks ago, and since that time, we've had one hellacious development at a football game between two of our schools, Alabama State and Jackson State University, that I'm going to go into right away. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Rose Gold Deluxe Spa, Womack Development Company and Realtor, and Morgan & Associates Dental. And all you other listeners that are contemplating maybe getting your name out of your business, give us a thought and a shout. You can always email me at fatlarrypodcast@gmail.com. fatlarrypodcast@gmail.com. This is how these two individuals got in touch with me. But let me first tell you that there's something I'd like for you to do, and that is hit that like button, that subscribe button, share it with a friend, family member. The show is picking up steam. My last show happened to be my biggest show. We had the Texas Southern band director on, and evidently the Ocean of Soul came through for me because a lot of them viewed it and made comments about the show. And that's what I want you guys to do here. But I'm about to talk about this topic on Deion and Coach Robinson at Alabama State. Hit me down below at the comments and let me know what your thoughts on it. Going right into it, I think that Eddie Robinson Jr., at first when I heard it, I kind of followed him on his displeasure with Deion saying the things he said. But Deion said it was all hype. And if everybody's ever listened to my show, you all know that I'm a big Coach Prime guy, because I feel like he's hadn't done anything but bring nothing but shine to the Southwestern Athletic Conference. That's my opinion. You know, anytime there was a movie once, 5 Heartbeats, and I'm sure all you guys have heard it, and the guy said any kind of publicity is good publicity. And so Deion doesn't do anything but shine the light on the Swac. And so when I heard Coach Robinson, I kind of felt what he said, but then I listened to Coach Prime, and Coach Prime tried to explain it. That, look, this is some ritual I was doing since I was in the NFL. Now, because he got there late, and he and his team, he ended up walking through Alabama State's practice huddles or something along that line, that Coach Robinson thought it was distasteful. Also, Coach Robinson was at the 50-yard line, and a lot of coaches before the game, they shake hands and talk and shoot the bull. And Coach Robinson said he didn't want to say anything to me then. And Coach Prime explained that, saying that, look, we got there late, so my team had to hurry up and try to get our routine in before we had to go back into the locker room to get dressed for the game, which made sense. But I see Coach Robinson's point, but I also see Coach Prime's point. And I just feel like if Coach Robinson would have known those things, he wouldn't have said the things he did. Because I totally disagree with him that Coach Prime is not Swac. Coach Prime is Swac up and down, even though he did not play in the Swac. I understand that part about Coach Robinson. That's what he was trying to say. He as he said before, since then, that is that I'm not trying to say he's not good for the Swac. It's just that he's not Swac. I'm Swac. I came up through the Swac, which is a true statement. But I still feel that Coach Prime is doing everything in his power to bring shine to not just Jackson State University, but everybody in the Swac. And as I said before, you coaches need to get off your rear end and just try to beat him or try to do as he does, to get you some shine. But down below in the comment section, let me know what you think. I don't feel like, one more time, Coach Robinson is a bad guy. he lost. And when you lose, emotions are flying all kind of ways when you think you could have won. And that's what he did. And Coach Prime talks that talking, but he walks the walk also. So he said he was just trying to hype the game. He said, was it a sellout? And it was. The first sellout they've had in a few years. And he said that's all he was trying to do. So you got to listen to Coach Prime. I heard Coach Robinson, but I feel like Coach Prime, the only thing I disagree with him on is Coach Prime is definitely for the Swac. So moving on with that, what we're going to do is give you some scores from around the other HBCU conferences. As I say all the time, I don't only do just the SWAC. I do the MEAC, the CIAA, the SIAC. And actually, I had someone from the MEAC contact me and say, look, you didn't give any scores, any updates on the MEAC. So I'm going to start off with these guys today. And the MEAC, you got North Carolina Central that's leading the conference. And you got South Carolina State, which beat Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl last year. They are second in their division. Then you got Delaware State. Let me put a little preference on Delaware State. Delaware State lost their top running back to Jackson State, and they are still, let me get the record right, they're 4-2 and 1-0 in their conference. So they're doing a good job. And if you haven't seen this kid at Jackson State, the running back, he came from Delaware State. And he not only just come from Delaware State, he's now starting at Jackson State. So you got Norfolk State, Delaware State, and South Carolina State in the hunt for the MEAC. You got CIAA, you got Central State and Tuskegee put up 1,200 yards in a football game last Saturday. Last Saturday would have been the 16th. That's what I'm referring to. They played in Ohio, and Central State had 712 yards of total offense, and Tuskegee had over 500 yards of total offense. When you get 500 yards, you shouldn't lose, but they lost by 34-49, 15 points. That just goes to show you Central State must have been on fire, 712 yards. And you got in the CIAA, you got Virginia Union leading in the north. You got Fayetteville State leading in the south. In the SIAC, you got Benedict College. You don't know what Benedict is in Alabama. Benedict College is 7-0, and Fort Valley State is 6-1. Now, a name that's missing from the SIAC is Bowie State. If you can recall, last year I did a couple of shows on Bowie State. Bowie State took some historic steps in that in the D2 area, they were the first predominantly black college to go into the third round of the tournament. So Bowie State, they had been winning 3 consecutive years, the SIAC, Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. They were winning that, but they wind up being like in 4th place this year. They lost a couple of their coaches and they lost the head coach. So you can see a difference that a coach makes. People say you sometimes that if you got the players, it doesn't matter. That's a lie. You got to have a coach. You got to have somebody running the ship. And so I've covered the SIAC, the CIAA, and the MEAC. And I'm going a little fast, family, because we got a very important guest that has a lot of things that he needs to do, and he's graciously given us his time to come over here and talk to us about the upcoming season. And moving on real quick, we're going to go with the SWAC. This week's games are TSU is going to Alcorn. Campbell University is going to play Jackson State for their homecoming. Bethune-Cookman is playing Mississippi Valley for their homecoming. Prairie View is playing Lamar University out of Beaumont. And Virginia Union Lynchburg is going to be playing Alabama. Alabama A&M? No, Alabama A&M beat them. So what we have now is the scores from this past weekend. FAMU beat Grambling State. Alabama State beat Mississippi Valley. Jackson State beat Bethune-Cookman. Southern beat Alcorn. Let me stop. It hurts my heart. I'm happy that Southern beat Alcorn, But we could be right there in the mix right now if we hadn't. I don't care what anybody says to me, we should have beat Alabama State. And if we beat Alabama State, we're right in the mix now for the West Division. But anyway, if Southern University beat Alcorn and Alabama A&M beat UAPB. This week's games I just spoke of. In the standings in the East, you have Jackson State 6-0, and you got FAMU 5-2. That's what it's going to come down to. In the West, you got Southern 3-1. You got PV 3-1. You got Alcorn 2-1. You got TSU 2-2. So we're not actually out of the mix, but we cannot lose another game. And I feel like we can beat Alcorn. Going back to next year again, or last year, I think we gave Alcorn a gift. So I think we can beat Alcorn and Alcorn. Then we have what I am about to do is going to take me right into our guest. The NBA has developed another classic for HBCUs. It is called the NBA Classic, and HBCU Classic is going to be in Salt Lake City, February 18th, 2023, and it's going to be Southern University and Grambling State. They've named Bob Butterbean Love. I'm going to ask my guest if he knows, if he's too young to know who Bob Butterbean Love is. Bob Butterbean Love is going to be the honorary captain for Southern and Grambling State. I'm going to ask him that too, which I'm sure he knows this one. He's a Louisiana guy. Willis Reed is going to be the honorary captain for Grambling. And but the one I'm pushing, family, and I want to see you there in the house, Texas Southern, Hampton, North Carolina A&T, and Norfolk State are going to be in Las Vegas. Las Vegas, family. What happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. So you can get ready for a good time and nobody will ever know anything that you did. So we want everybody to show up that possibly can. We want to have a big showing because I've told some of my friends we've talked, they feel like Hampton's going to be in the house. North Carolina A&T is going to be in the house. They have a wonderful alumni. And then you got Norfolk State and they got Texas Southern. And we were talking, the guy said, how do you think they came up with it? Because Hampton regularly plays in the tournament. Because North Carolina A&T, either them or North Carolina Central are playing in the tournament. And then you got Norfolk State. The last few years, Norfolk State, actually, along with Texas Southern, has won a playing game. So I'm looking for a great competition from the NBA class, Chris Paul NBA Classic in Las Vegas. One more time, family. Get your tickets. You can get them at Access. I've had people call to ask me. It's AXS. Go online and get your tickets. Me and about 10 guys have already got our tickets and our hotels ready. And we intend to have a great time and hopefully come home with 2 victories, being the number 1 HBCU over the last couple of years. That's basically what Chris Paul tried to do, was get the last few years, get the HBCUs that are participating in the NCAA tournament. And so we are one of them. And so one more time, just like I pushed the Labor Day Classic, I'm really pushing this December the 17th and December the 18th. Hit me up on the comment section if you have any questions in regards to how to get a ticket. You know, I can't tell you how to get there. You have to fly. You can drive if you like, but we are flying. So they got packages that you can go and have a good time. I know the coach, when I bring him on, he's going to appreciate everybody there with their maroon and gray on. And so the NBA, Chris Paul NBA Classic in Las Vegas, make sure to make arrangements to be there in December. You got 2 months. You should be able to make it, family. 2 months, December the 17th and the 18th. Go over the Major League stuff right quick. We're going to bring the guests in. Baseball. This is what I played in college baseball. People say it's too slow and it's this and that. But baseball right now, they had a wonderful game, an 18-inning game where only 1 run was scored. And I'm sure if I would ask 7 people walking down my street, probably 6 of them would say they don't even know what the score was or who played or whatever. Because they think that's a dull game. But that's a fantastic game when you get pitchers that can hold another team for 18 innings without a run. And we were fortunate enough that our shortstop, our new shortstop, Luis, came through and hit a home run. And so now we're waiting on to see who's going to win between the Yankees and the Cleveland Guardians. I think it's going to be New York. That was my pick prior to the playoffs. New York playing the Astros, and the Astros going to the World Series to play the Dodgers. So I've been wrong on the Dodgers. And now you got the Padres and the Phillies. So I'm actually at a loss on this, but Padres have been close for a few years, closer than the Phillies. So I'm going to go with the Padres beating the Phillies. And I got us taking the Padres down. And NFL right quick, in the East, you got the Buffalo Bills, 5-1. Chiefs, 4-2. Titans, 3-2. Ravens, 3-2. Those are the division leaders. Wild cards, you got the Chargers in the mix, the Jets and the Colts. In the NFC, you got the Eagles, Vikings, Buccaneers, and the 49ers are the conference leaders. In the mix in the wild card, you got the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Rams. My pick before all this started was the Bills and the Chiefs in the AFC game. And I had maybe the Buccaneers and the 49ers. But now, the Giants have looked great. The Cowboys, strange for me to say, the Cowboys are looking pretty good too. And the Eagles, quite naturally, have done a 360. And the Vikings, I don't trust the Vikings. The Vikings are 5-1, but I don't see the Vikings coming through. So I'm thinking it's going to be, one more time, the Bills and Chiefs winner playing either the 49ers or Buccaneers. You got to throw the Packers in there, sort of, kind of, because you never can count their quarterback out. And so with that said, family, I rushed through that to be able to get to my guest. Today, family, we're going to have Coach Johnny Jones, the head basketball coach at Texas Southern University. Coach Jones, welcome to the show, young man.
Appreciate it, Larry, and it's great to be with you again.
All right. We're going to jump right into it because Coach Jones has some things he needs to do. And one more time, I am so thankful that he stopped by to go over this. I am a huge fan of the basketball team. And he and I were talking off camera, but we're going to also talk now. Family, I don't know if you know the upcoming roster, but I'm going to go over them individually. We're going to have Coach just give us a little insight on each player that I'm going to tell. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do is start off with this. Coach, they have us picked as a first place team. They got all corn. They got Southern, they got Prairie View, and they got FAMU as the top 4 teams. You agree with that assessment?
Well, I'm just excited that we're at the top again for the 3rd straight year, and that means that obviously coaches in the league and sports information directors who have the privilege of voting have a great deal of respect for a program. And but at the end of the day, you still got to go play the game, and that's what we're excited about. That we feel like we have another great core of guys that we can show up on the floor and compete at a high level, and to play in a very competitive league. And all those teams from top to bottom, I think we're in a very tough and difficult league. And on any given night, as we well know, anything can happen. Yeah. And so you have to be ready. But we do feel as though we have a solid group, and we're excited that they've picked us at the top. Now it's up to us to go fight and make sure that we can finish there.
Yeah. You said something very profound just then, and that was that you got to go play the game. And I feel like any given night, any of these teams, because I'm looking down at UAPB, and being that I'm in sports now, I do investigating and look at YouTube and look at information. UAPB went off and see, this is a team that nobody's even talking about. And Coach may know what I'm referring to, and he may not know the player's name by name, but I'm sure through the grapevine he's heard they went off and got some pretty good players, UAPB.
Very solid. I'm very familiar with the coach. He's done a fantastic job in a very short time. And but we have great coaches in our league that are well respected. Have done a phenomenal job in terms of preparing their team for this upcoming season. Everybody can't be picked number 1 at the end of the day, or number 2. You've got to fall in there somewhere. But any time those things happen, you feel as though that you have something to prove, and the players feel the same way. And as long as they know that they've got to show up on one of those Saturdays or Mondays doing conference play, they know that anything can happen. And whether you're at home or away, you've got to really be ready in the Swac, because I can assure you teams are coming to play, and they are really supported by very good players. And as you said, UAPB is one of those teams that have done a tremendous job during the off season in preparing their team and getting better players to be very competitive.
Yeah, I like Grambling State's coach. I always messed with him when he was at UAPB. He's at Mississippi Valley now, or Ivory.
Yes.
But Ivory's a good coach.
Yeah.
Ivory's a damn good coach.
Right. He is. He's done a phenomenal job. Glad to have him back in the league. And obviously he understands the league, knows the league, understands the style. So I think he's going to go in and do an excellent job there. I think he was a former player
There
at Valley. And so I'm sure you have some ingrained things that you want to make sure that they get those guys back to where Coach Striblin had them years ago. And he understands it. He understands that fan base. And again, I think he's done an excellent job during the off season and preparing and bringing some new guys in.
Alcorn, that guy, I was listening to him and reading stuff on him. They want us, coach. They want us. We stole their apple. We stole they was getting ready to bite the apple and we stole it from the coach. So you got Corn coach after us, Southern coach. He's a fire breed anyway, and he's looking. I can tell from their talk that they looking at us, coach. They look, and you're supposed to look at the number one team that's going to be. But can you tell when you go in to play these teams that they want you real bad?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, we've got a great tradition here at TSU. It's no secret. And people feel as though that they have to have a certain edge. And we feel like a lot of times we do get teams' best shot when we have to play them, and we have to be prepared for that.
Yes,
I told the teams yesterday that sometimes you play with a target on your back.
Right.
And but if you're about it, you want to play with a target on the front, the back, and on your shoulders because you want to be playing at a certain level night in and night out. And I think that we're have to really mentally prepare for that. And again, you've got some great coaches in this league, and you mentioned several of those guys, and they do a great job in terms of preparing their teams and getting ready, and that's what makes it so exciting night in and night out, that you're playing teams that are going to be extremely prepared and ready to play. We've been very fortunate the last 2 years to be the last team standing there in the conference tournament, but at the end of the day, it's always a fight, and it's a battle to get there, and so this year won't be any different. And we're excited. But I think the coaches, they take certainly pride in preparing their team. But at the same time, I think they've done a great job, especially when you're voting for us and putting us there in the first place. It means that they have a great deal of respect, but at the same time, they're coming for you.
Yes, sir.
And we have to be prepared for that.
Family, I just want y'all to know, Coach is from Louisiana, and he used what his boy is saying, Master P. Production man, did you hear him say, body, did you hear him? You got to be body. We know where that come from, don't we? Where they come from, Shay?
Master P.
Master P. He quoted his Louisiana homeboy. He said, you got to be body. So, Coach, all right, you let me know something, Coach, all right. So, but anyhow, let's go back to your coaches. As I had Coach McKinney on, he went over his coaches. Give us some detail on your coaches. Let us know who your assistant coaches are.
Well, my staff, Sharon Chapman, who had an opportunity to coach in college there at the University of Memphis when he played. I was the interim head coach there for a year. I actually recruited him out of high school, and I was an assistant coach there. And I became the interim head coach, and I coached him for a year. But he's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, there at McKinley. So I've known him for long time. He worked, played under Calipari, and then coached under him.
What is his title? What does he do for you?
He's our lead assistant there right now, and he also was here with Mike Davis when I arrived. So I didn't bring him in; he was here, and I kept him on staff after I arrived here. And he'd be a lead assistant. We got Brandon Chambers, who was with me for a year. I met him when I was out at University of Nevada, coaching out there. Had an opportunity to bring him in on staff 2 years ago. He wound up leaving, taking a position there at LSU for a year, and unfortunately, staff was let go a year ago, and we brought him back in. And he's done an excellent job. And then Josh White, who I coached at the University of North Texas, who's in the Hall of Fame there at University of North Texas now, and started for me for 4 years. another Louisiana guy. His brother's actually Quantas White, who's
yes,
the assistant
University
there at University of Houston. So I come from a basketball family. But I think they've got a very fine staff, phenomenal guys, work extremely hard, get after being on the recruiting trail in the gym, preparation, whatever for games. So we've been very good, but I don't want to leave out, we probably have one of the top video coordinators that came to us. He's originally from Houston, but he was at Florida State. Wife worked here in the area. She had to move back, and he's here with us. And he's gotten calls from some NBA teams, but chose not to leave because he wanted to make sure he remained. There was his wife and Mike Arconda, who was he got his master's degree, and he works as our basketball operations guy here on campus. So it couldn't be more excited. And then my son, John Jones, who played his last game, he's going to be on board with us this year. Graduate assistant. And looking forward to having him on board with us. And he's taking the same route that I did many years ago, 30 plus years ago, is in going straight from playing into coaching. And I'm hopeful he can embrace it the way that I did.
Yeah. Now is Susay with Cisse still?
And Cisse, he's our at the same time he's with us as our coach of development. And we're excited about what he's done there with our guys, and he's one stays really connected and understands exactly what's going on with our guys. It's more of a player development role that he's in right now, and so. Went to Willow Ridge High School, player of the year in the SEC, went on to play in the NBA for a little while. So we've got a really good staff around me and great core guys.
That's why I asked about it, because I wanted the family to know that it's not just Coach Jones. We got some people behind him that does an excellent job too.
Well, it's one of those things that they always talk about, and I use this analogy with their players, especially when I'm talking about our managers. A lot of times you can go out and you may see a glacier and it's beautiful at the top, but there's that base at the bottom that's holding it together. We've got tremendous base here, and that's doing a great job in terms of serving and holding the foundation together, which gives us an opportunity to be a special team.
Fantastic. Now, I want to, one more time before I get started, YouTube family, and that is we had an opportunity to give a very good jewel, and I didn't know if he was still with us or not. But what was the gentleman's name that was from high school, that was from Shadow Creek, that we lost at the 11th hour?
Sean Jones. He's at Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
Yeah, and for us, he wound up taking an offer for them in the summer after he had signed with us, and. Those things happen. It's part of recruiting battles, and he's had an opportunity to move on, and we were able to wish him well.
Yeah. Coach, when you got him, I was like, they don't know what's about to happen now. This guy can do a little bit of everything. And also, family, I brought that up to Coach, and I were talking off camera. This NIL is real, as he said. It can make the difference in us having someone or not. We're not going to have $10,000 to give any of these kids, but I was trying to start something. One more time, under the comment section, write me a note and tell me what you think. I was trying to get together with some other alums to try to maybe get 10 of us to do $300 or whatever a piece, so that we could give to a few of the players. I don't know if that would have done anything for Sean, but still, future players, we'd like to. So we have to get on board and understand that we got to start trying to get some money together too. And Coach, I've seen how Coach Prime is proactive. Are any of you guys, or is that against the rule for you guys to be proactive to try to get some funding for your NIL?
Well, we're supposed to actually be removed from it. That's supposed to be an outside
so you can't deal
entity that brings it in, yes, because it's all about these kids or their representatives going out and helping them seek those type of funds or whatever, and putting those in place for you. And we have to be removed. Now, some universities have hired people to come in, and they have to be, I'm not sure if they can be actually paid. I don't know who they're getting paid for, who's hiring, whatever, but they are working on campus, and teams like Duke and other people have been able to bring represent people in to try to help enhance to get these guys deals at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, that NIL, I think it's great. We have a couple of players that I think have done a great job of utilizing it and been benefiting from it at the end of the day. But I think as a whole that there's a short window that's there, and what kids should really have their sights on. And I can just tell you that we're having an experience here at Texas Southern University is going to overshadow in NIL at the end of the day. When you talk about walking away with your degree, the impact that this great university have an opportunity to have on these young men on and off the floor, and things are going to impact them for the rest of their lives that they'll have an opportunity to use. So I try to make sure the kids don't get caught up in the wrong things, because we feel as though that kids can come here and be the best version of themselves and do so much more at the end of the day. But it's a hard sell, it's a tough sell, but when kids buy into it, they benefit greatly from it.
For sure. You know, I was just trying to figure out how FAMU and Jackson are getting these large corporations, not just an individual player, but to the university. So that's why I was asking, are you able, or if you weren't able, somebody in the athletic department like the AD or assistant AD or somebody like that does have the privilege to go out and try to get, they were saying on the news last night, they are hoping that Pepsi coming on board, Coca-Cola, and somebody coming on board at J-State would help sway him to stay. Coach Prime, that is, family, because now he's getting an offer from D5 schools. And one more time, this show is being taped on the 18th. On the 16th, he did a 60-minute special that said that he'd be a fool not to listen. So Jackson State is getting a little antsy over there because some D5 is going to snatch him up. You know, I mean, it's just, Coach is laughing because he's just like, hey, it's all in vain, because once they drop that $5 million a year down in front of him, you know, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. And I don't want to say it like that, like he has no heart, because one more time, Coach Prime already has done so much for Jackson State University. A new field, new equipment in the weight room, a new meeting room. So if he leaves, he's done so much already, Coach.
Yeah. Well, you know, our deal is, and I'm not sure, you know, I think the NCAA, unfortunate the way they've gone about developing and putting his NIL in place, I think it's become somewhat of a distraction. I'm not sure if they've got the arms around it the right way, because you don't know exactly what the athletic directors or the people on campus can do from the initial onset. Right. But the same thing, I think, is with the coaches and people in place as well, so these kids can have an opportunity to benefit. But we're very fortunate. I think our president has done an excellent job of going out and creating some opportunities.
You're satisfied as of now for what the effort they're putting forward?
Well, what they've been able to bring in, the amount of money that they've been able to generate through other companies, from Chase to Shell, you name it, that have come into the university, the amount of money that there's been inputs. And I think we just have to continue to grow those things, and then make sure that we continue to put the right product out there on the floor that those teams or those companies want to be associated with, and then we can go to them and create those opportunities. But it all starts with winning. At the end of the day, if you win and then you bring in the right type of athletes that represent the university in a first-class manner in the right way, those other things have a tendency of happening and coming a part of it as well. And we understand where we are, and it may take us a little bit longer than others, but I can assure you we'll get there.
Okay, fantastic. So you, one more time, that question, you are satisfied with what the university is trying to push forward in regards to the NIL?
Oh, absolutely, because I understand the impact of the NIL, and I understand you know, where a lot of those things are generated from, and it's not something that just happened overnight.
I got you.
A lot of those things have been in place for quite some time. They're just reallocating it in a different way now.
Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do is go over the roster, and I want Coach to tell us where the individual is from, his classification, and how he's going to help the team. Family, we got a new player called Isaiah Marin.
Yeah, Isaiah is originally from Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
I wound up going to New Mexico and planned for a year there. They had a coaching change. Wound up going to junior college for a year. We're very fortunate to have his services. He's a combo guard, really can play the 1, 2, and the 3, 4s. A very crafty, a really good passer, and he's certainly going to make an impact on our team. He's what we were looking for when we lost 7 guys last year, several of those being guards. this guy comes in and brings a combination of an ability to make up for some of the guard play that we lost a year ago.
Is he a two-way player? He also defends?
Yes, he can defend as well. Extremely sharp, very cerebral, and have really good basketball IQ. And feel that there's someone that's really going to fit into this team and gel the right way, and very creative in things that he can do, but he can certainly play both ends of the floor.
Okay. We got Devon Barnes. This is the guy that last year when I had Coach on the show, I said, Coach, you got a kid from Memphis? That's all I needed to hear. Back in the day when I was at TSU, we used to get the Memphis kids, and we didn't have one come through there that couldn't hoop. And so give me an update on Mr. Barnes.
David, I tell you, he's probably one of the hardest workers I've ever been around. Loves being in the gym, continuing to grow. And he's a young man that through the COVID era didn't have an opportunity to be seen as much in high school. But he's a phenomenal player, phenomenal person, continuing to get better. Probably one of those guys who made the most improvement from year one to year two. I wanted to redshirt him possibly a year ago, but his abilities wouldn't allow it to happen because he stood out from that freshman group. He's the only freshman that I wound up playing last year, and he impacted their team and had to start and play a lot of minutes in a couple of our games where we even had someone hurt or had other things going on where he had to play maximum minutes. And he passed with flying colors. We went through a COVID deal. We played University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and we had several guys out, and only 7 guys, I think, was dressed out, whatever, for the night, 7 or 8 guys. And he showed that he's always ready and prepared. So David's going to be super. He's excited, and he's one of those guys we're pushing for a starting position this year at the 3 spot.
And how tall is he?
David's probably about 6'5". Yeah,
6'5". And Isaiah Marion?
Darren's about 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", yes.
Okay. All right, next we got P.J. Henry from Shadow Creek, locally right here in Houston. And Coach, he was the MVP of the tournament, and a guy that left the university and went to Southern Family, Etienne, which I'm thankful for Etienne, but he came through a lot of times for us. He's second team, and PJ, who was MVP tournament player, did not make the first or the second team.
Well, as I told you, they picked us to be the number 1 team in the league, and as I told you, you still got to go play the game.
Got to play the game.
They can vote and put those guys
whatever
on
they
teams
want.
or whatever. You still got to play the game. If you can remember, we wind up coming in second place in the league last year. We had 0 guys on first or second team at the end of the season. Right. So our guys understood that we were a great team. We had great players. And at the end of the year, they wanted to cut down those nets so they could hang banners and all the championship rings in the NCAA tournament. They were able to do that. So it wasn't about who got voted on those teams. At the end of the day, those guys did a great job. And I think that's where PJ is. PJ's a guy, he's nothing but a straight up winner. Was at Hartford the year that he was there. They wound up going to the NCAA tournament, played 30-something odd minutes in the game against Baylor. And Baylor wound up going on to win the national championship that year. We've had him here. All he did was come in here, and all he's done is won. And leading us at the point guard, and very crafty, and was outstanding in the conference tournament. The good thing about PJ, that being first, second team, or MVP, none of that stuff matters to him. At the end of the day, winning is what's important to him. So we're fortunate to have him on our team.
I have one question about PJ. Does he look like now he understands he's running the show? Because last year, though, a couple of times he looked indecisive in that, should I, shouldn't I? Because he's a freshman. Oh, it's the first year there. He understands now that, hey, I'm part of this team and I'm running this ship.
Well, when you're the point guard, a lot of times, because I played point guard too, generally I'm going to get the keys to the bus. And you're driving us. And we're riding with you. And he's a guy that we've been able to do that to and for. And unfortunately, through the year, he's not one of those guys complaining. He went through a lot of injuries last year and had to miss several practices. He played in some games and probably wasn't 100%. But at the end of the day, he was out there to be serviceable enough for a team, and we're fortunate he was healthy come tournament time, and it showed. And when he wasn't healthy, there are some places on our schedule, it showed as well that we had setbacks. But when he's healthy, some great things happen for us.
Fantastic. I knew when you got him last year, as I told you at the show last year, that I think we got us one. We got PJ. Now, Carl Nicholas Coach, I think if Carl could just develop a little 8 or 7, 10 foot or 8, just inside the paint jump hook, he would have a chance at the next level, I think, because he's a monster. Tell us about Carl.
Well, Carl, we're very fortunate. Carl plays with a great deal of energy. One of the things to try to help him in terms of focusing on is maximizing and embracing the gift, obviously, that he has. One of the gifts you have is I'm not sure of anybody out there when Carl's on the floor, they're going to play harder and more energetic and do those things, and he's elite.
Right.
You know, at those things. I think they voted him for defensive player
MVP.
of the year. And if you've got that type of mindset, if you're defending hard, you're rebounding hard, those other things will happen for you. And so we don't try to force it into the other things to do at the end of the day. Works extremely hard on him.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if he can maximize on the defensive end, rebound at basketball, create opportunities for his teammates on the other end, the scoring's going to come
the floor.
in. And it's high field goal percentages, free throws, those kind of things. And if we can do those things at a high level, some great things can happen for us. And Carl is a catalyst and very important part for us in that role.
Yeah, sounds like a Dennis Rodman to me. That's basically how Dennis Rodman's in the NBA Hall of Fame from doing exactly what Coach said. Defending, rebounding, blocking shots, and running the floor.
Right.
And he's in the Hall of Fame. We got Jordan Gilliam. And you know what I called him off camera, Coach? Tell us about Jordan.
You call him a glue guy. Jordan's a special. I tell you, 2 years ago when we wound up winning the championship, we thought Jordan down the stretch, maybe in the championship game against PV, I think it was at the time, came up and just took it to another level. This is after Mike Weathers had hit his shot against Jackson State and may have gotten a little tired in the PV game. Jordan came through, then got in the NCAA tournament game and played extremely well. He's had probably one of his better off seasons a little bit this year, but he's come in and probably made a giant step from the last 2 years he's played with us, and we're looking for some special things from Jordan Gilliam and think that he's going to be a great asset for us. And
correct me if I'm mispronouncing this guy's name, Zyterius Martel?
Yes, we call him Zy.
Okay.
And Zy actually spent a year over at Shadow Creek as well. He's from Louisiana, but wound up going to a prep school. Okay. And the team he played for there at Peabody High School is a team notorious for being in the state. Coach has been there for a number of years and very, very good in terms of teaching and fundamentally sound. This kid is going to be fun to watch. So you remember that name, Zy.
How we going to forget that?
Going to be exciting for you. Zy's probably about 6'2", 6'3", probably has unbelievable vertical jump and very powerful. I can tell you this, he could probably be one of those guys that you can move to football and could possibly play free safety and make a lot of money.
He's that tough.
He's that type of guy. And we're looking forward to it.
Well, family, we're going to have to get a cheer for when he come in the game. Zy. Okay. Kobe Granger. This is the Granger that I thought had a little ability. And how has he continued to progress forward, and what do you see coming out of Kobe?
He's been outstanding for us. And again, redshirted him for a reason, going through high school from injuries and being hurt and then getting with us, and wanted to make sure that he was able to transition in the right way. And Kobe's really worked in that weight room. He's probably put on 10 to 15 pounds on the off season. He's continued to work on the shot, which he's already was a good shooter and continued to improve. But that group of freshmen, he and Davian Barnes and those guys, there's no one that I think as a group I've ever been associated with that worked as hard as that group of freshmen to continue to get better. And we look forward to Kobe making an impact on our team this year. Probably one of our best defenders as well. Now, that's a big difference from his dad. His dad was a scorer. His jersey hangs in the rafters there at TSU, but he's a little bit different than his dad because he will guard you from baseline to baseline. He has some toughness about him and unbelievable athleticism out there on the floor because he can really jump. And I tease his dad all the time because his dad could really score. But this kid is probably a little bit more well-rounded than his dad because he can score as well.
Yeah. He, as he and I get together and we talk all the time, he said, I was buckets, bro. I'll be trying to specify what his game was. No, I was just bucket. I mean, you know, I'm just gonna get a bucket, you know, some kind of way, jump or drive or whatever. Okay, then we go down. Khalil Farouk.
Yes, Khalil Farouk was a walk-on a year ago, transferred in from Hampton, doing the COVID era, and they didn't allow him to play there. He went there as a walk-on from Yates High School initially, where he played at. Then he went over. He had played at Westbury Christian, where he was an outstanding player, and he had such a great redshirt season for us where he didn't play. That just the other day we brought him into practice, and I asked who was the walk-ons on the floor, and he raised his hand, and I said, "So you a walk-on?" He said, "Yeah," and I pulled out scholarship papers and gave it to him.
Fantastic.
And told him, "I said you're no longer the walk-on."
Fantastic!
So,
what a great feeling.
The players on the floor know how hard he's worked, and they certainly embraced him, and he's going to be one to watch.
Okay.
And we are certainly love him and his abilities.
Okay, we got one more, Shakir O'Neal. Now, family, you can't, as I told Coach, this is why they say you can't believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. So I heard and saw this in writing that Shakir was gone, and Shakir O'Neal is still here with the family. Talk to us about Shakir.
I'll tell you, Shakir's had an outstanding summer. He's taken a big step. Last year, he was kind of stricken a little bit. His grandfather, who lives in California, was really ill. He was spending a lot of times back and forth checking on him, and unfortunately passed away toward the end of the season. And I think it gave him an opportunity to understand that he did everything that he could while his grandfather was here, and spend as much time as he could with him. And I think he's just made such a commitment since that, and he's been back, and he's had an outstanding summer, and he's taken some giant steps. He's probably grown an inch. He's probably 6'7.5", close to 6'8" now, probably put on about 10, 12 pounds as well, and so we're excited about what we feel that he can bring to our program.
The stuff I saw in high school, quite naturally when you're playing these private schools, but you can still see the ability.
Yes.
So that we just got to get the mind to catch up with the ability.
And he's got some toughness. He played with a sense of urgency, practice that way as well. And his reverse button is broke. He don't back up from anything.
Okay.
So he looks forward to challenges, and we're excited what he's going to bring.
John Walker, we know about John. Been there for a minute. Now he's voted second team. And when I heard that news, I was like, okay, yes, we got a chance. He came back. Yeah. So how's John looking?
Well, John, one of those guys that put his name out there that he was going to go away and turn professional. After being away for a little bit and understanding that family atmosphere and environment that we bring to this team, he decided to come back. Right. And as a coach, I couldn't be happier, and I know fans should feel the same way.
I do.
He is certainly a outstanding basketball player. And for us, he can play a lot of different positions on the floor and can really score. He's an exceptional scorer, and what he's done over the offseason is continue to work on his game and his outside shooting ability. Where he was good last year, he's improved. Last year, he was shooting over 40% for most of the season from the three-point line.
Yeah. He showed me something last year, because he showed me something with that three I hadn't seen.
Yeah. And he's improved on that. And when he can mix that in with his inside game, some great things can happen for us, and we're looking forward to that.
Grayson Carter.
Wow. Our fans going to be really excited about Grayson. Grayson's about 6'10", probably about 235, 240 pounds. And Trent, he initially went to Georgetown out of high school, where he went to Gaia High School out of Denton, Texas. And then he transferred to UT Arlington. Unfortunately, was injured. Finally, we were able to get him in here. We got him operated on, and his rehab went well. And you're talking about somebody that's going to make a difference on our team because his ability to rebound, defend in the paint. Offensively, he's a very, very high IQ guy. You can just see him being on the floor with a guy like John Walker or Carl his ability to stretch the floor, shoot the three, play with his back to the basket. So he's going to be an added dimension that we haven't had since I've been here. And it's going to be a big plus for us.
Excited about him. And one last one, Chris Craig.
Well, Chris is actually Grayson's high school teammate. And so he's been here in school for a couple of years, but he's going to walk on to the team this year. He's about 6'4", and plays with sense of urgency, toughness, good basketball background. The guy at high school, well, I used to be the head basketball coach at University of North Texas, very familiar with the program.
Yes.
So it's very stable, solid. Coach has done a fantastic job there. So these guys have coming out of a good program, and they're going to be a really welcome addition to us. And I know that's the last name on there, but on the 26th of this month at 6 o'clock, we're going to have walk-on tryouts. So we're going to probably have to keep a couple of more guys to round out our team to possibly get us to 15 our number to 15. And because of COVID, we've pushed it off and hadn't been able to have tryouts like we would like to. So this year we're bringing it back in. So we're excited about the number of guys that are going to show up.
We got a lot of people interested in walking on.
Oh my goodness, every day I'm walking on campus if I'm going to eat, guys coming up to me, which I like, and I welcome because they want to be a part of it.
Right.
Says a lot, but we're certainly looking forward to the 26th at 6 o'clock of hosting walk-ons and seeing who those two guys that we'll possibly keep will be out there.
Okay, Coach. And is there anything you'd like to tell the listening audience about the upcoming team and trying to get them out and what their support means to you guys?
Oh, yeah. Well, I can just tell you right off the top that, so again, we're playing one of the most difficult schedules in the country. We've got 4 teams going to be in the top 25. You got University of Houston's going to be rated right now as the top 3 in the country. You've got Kansas at number 5. I think you have like Auburn at 15 and then Texas Tech at 25. We'll play all 4 of those teams, and we're excited about it. But the most important thing, we start the season off on the road, again, like we always do at San Francisco on the 7th, and on the 9th we'll turn around and play Texas Tech, but we'll come home. And our first home game will be here on that Sunday against Arizona State, and we're looking forward to that. It's a big challenge, and we can't wait to have a team of that magnitude in our building. And then 2 nights later, we'll turn around and play Oral Roberts, which will be another top team that can win their conference and NCAA tournament type team. And then the next night, we will play at the University of Houston on the, I think it's the 16th.
Wow.
And we're really, really excited about that. And that's something that hadn't happened in a long time in terms of playing U of H. So it's a great challenge for us, but we're looking forward to our fans having to be able to do something they hadn't been able to do in a long time. Watching our team prior to conference play starting. We usually getting home in January and playing. We'll have 4 games prior to January that our fan base have an opportunity to come out and watch us. And 2 of those games, again, Arizona State, we're going to right out beginning of the season, our 3rd game of the season. Then we'll back that up, a home game again with Oral Roberts, and then have 2 D2s again. So make sure that you come out and watch your Tigers play and cheer us on.
Mr. Womack is the broker and president and CEO of Womack Development Investment Realtors, a private minority-owned full-service commercial and residential real estate brokerage firm. Over the years, he has been known to be a respected community businessman and partner and has received many awards. Now, he sells real estate everywhere, but this specialty is right here in 3rd Ward. This guy can get it taken care of for you.
Hello, family, and as usual, I'm back again, letting you guys know we need you to go to fatlarrypodcast.com and purchase yourself a t-shirt. We got hoodies, we got maroon and white, maroon and gray, red, white, blue. Go to fatlarrypodcast.com and get yourself a t-shirt to help support the program. It would be greatly appreciated. That's what Coach, I want to apologize for forgetting that. That was one of the things I want to do, is let the family know we're going to finally have some home games. And did you hear who the opponents are going to be? These are D1 schools, rich in tradition. Arizona State. You got University of Houston. You said Oral Roberts. Don't sleep on Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts 2 years ago made it to Sweet 16, if I'm not mistaken.
And they still have that point guard.
Still right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth. They got a little guy about 5-6 foot tall that is out of sight. So I want to apologize, but that's another thing I like to do is make sure you guys come out to the campus to see these schools and show them, because these games are going to be televised. If they're not televised, they're going to definitely show a clip of Arizona State at Texas Southern. I want them to see how we do it. And as coaches say, what we about it. Is that how it go, Shayla? So,
I just say we got to be about it.
Yeah. Coach and Rose, if you go say it right.
Can't just talk about it. We got to be about it.
I'm sorry, Master P's old boy corrected me on that. You got to be about it. But I want all us to turn out for those 4 games. That's going to be great. I forgot to bring that up, and that's going to be great. We're going to finally have some home games with some people, with some teams that people should want to see.
Right.
Should want to see. Well, Coach, I want to thank you again. I know you got to get out here and get to work because just as quick as I talked about you lovingly, if we go 0-10 down the stretch, I'm going to have to talk about you the other way.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand.
So, Coach, thank you for showing up.
Appreciate
and family, one more time, I want to beat the drum on the game in Las Vegas. Basketball is playing December the 17th and 18th in Las Vegas at the MGM in the Chris Paul HBCU Classic. Get your tickets and your flight arrangements. We're going to have a great time. You know, the game only lasts a couple, 3 hours. After the game, it's going to be on. So please try, if you can, to come to Las Vegas to support your Tigers. Without further ado, I'd like to thank everybody for watching the show. Peace out.